Hi, meteorologist Ron Roberts in the KMAC Weather Lab in Lubbock, and this is a part of the West Texas Nexstar Network, and that also includes, of course, KMR in Amarillo, KMID in Midland, Odessa, and, of course, our affiliates in Wichita Falls and Abilene and San Angelo. But tonight, we're going to be talking to John Harris up in Amarillo because there's something that we share in common, and that is an enhanced risk of severe weather for tomorrow that includes the possibility of long-lived and damaging tornadoes. John Harris joins me now under the gun, if you will. Severe weather moving into Amarillo as we speak right now. But, John, getting ready for tomorrow.
Absolutely. You know, we have had some rough weather over the weekend. The dry line setting up on Saturday and Sunday, giving us a couple of tornado threats. And now we have the dry line setting up once again this evening, Ron. And so we are tracking a string of thunderstorms down to the west of Amarillo, now up to the northwest of us, producing large hail and damaging straight line winds. And so our risk this evening actually is a slight risk for severe weather from Amarillo and Guyman and Point south. And we're watching these thunderstorms as they track off to the northeast. So for this evening, right here in the Panhandle, we actually have a risk for hail up to the size of golf balls, maybe up to 2-inch diameter hailstones, along with 60 to 70 mile per hour straight line winds with these thunderstorms. The tornado risk is low, 2%, but not completely absent. So we are watching everything, and we're actually tracking these thunderstorms right now that are close to the city of Amarillo. Thus far, these supercell thunderstorms have been migrating just to the west of the city, but they have been putting down some a ping pong ball to golf ball size hail, heavy rain. They're moving towards Stinnett and Borger and back to the west of Amarillo at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. So you see that we do have a severe thunderstorm warning underway for Carson, Hutchinson, Moore, and Potter counties until 7:30. Here's for the Amarillo area itself. And again, these thunderstorms kind of staying just out on the west side of town, back over toward Bushland. We have had reports of up to quarter-size hail around Bushland, possibly even larger than that. For the Amarillo metro area itself, we are under this severe thunderstorm warning until 7:15, again, mainly for our western side of the city. So here in the city of Amarillo, of course, we are streaming live right here on myhighplains.com. So for our friends in Amarillo, we need to be in our place of safety at this time for the possibility of severe weather. That also continues down to the southwest of us for Deaf, Smith, and Randall counties. 645, we do have our storm chasers on these cells, watching them for us. Thus far, not tornadic, but again, definitely hail producers. And then we get back further to the southwest, and now we're entering into Ron Roberts' part of the world, Bailey, Lamb, and Palmer counties. Severe thunderstorm warning underway. It has expired, but possibly more severe weather breaking out. So looking at our future sky forecast, our in-house model run, this is the RPM model run for this evening. Our thunderstorms will continue to move to the east and start to wind down tonight. So now getting back to what Ron and I had been discussing earlier and what Ron is talking about tomorrow, this is what we are concerned with. We have the thunderstorms tonight. Yes, we're watching those for you. They will start to fall apart later on this evening, but now for tomorrow, we have this setup, a cold front moving in from the north. A dry line will still be in place, and so we're going to have instability at the surface, temperatures warming into the 70s and 80s, plenty of humidity, but aloft there's going to be a pocket of cold air riding right over the panhandles, setting the stage for more severe weather. In fact, according to the Storms Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma, we do have an enhanced risk from Lubbock to Amarillo to Guyman and back up to the north and east of us. And unfortunately, tomorrow, as Ron was saying a while ago, not only do we have to worry about the normal modes of severe weather, meaning hail and high winds and heavy downpours, but tomorrow evening, for sure, from Amarillo to the east, where we have the deeper moisture supply, where we have more of a turning of the winds with high wind shear, if you will, here comes the threat for tornadic activity. That will continue into the early morning hours of Wednesday, moving into Oklahoma and then moving away from us, but something we're definitely going to keep an eye on. And these are the storm threats for tomorrow for our viewing area up here in the Texas Panhandle, the Oklahoma Panhandle, southwest Kansas, and eastern New Mexico. For sure, both of the panhandles anyway. Tornado risk up to medium tomorrow. And again, as Ron was saying, if one of these tornadoes comes down, it may be long-lived. So something we definitely are going to keep an eye on. That would be a very frightening aspect to our severe weather threats tomorrow. Of course, hail up to the size of golf balls, and again, the 60 to 70 mile per hour winds blowing out ahead of these thunderstorms and around the rear flanking downdrafts as they move off to the northeast. So I think we are gearing up for the possibility of one of the I would say one of the worst days that we've seen in a while across the Panhandle. I go back through the years, and typically it's the El Nino years where we do have bad weather. So if we go back to 2007, for example, that was a rough year for the Panhandles. We had numerous tornadoes that came down that year. Ron?
Yeah, and it looks like you're also going to have that triple point tomorrow where you have the front, you have, again, the frontal system with a low-pressure system, the dry line coming out of it, so it could be really tough there. But then again, you may push with the outflow of these thunderstorms into the Lubbock area, which we have to watch. And as you know, John, we really had a close call yesterday with a fairly large tornado. So Nexstar Nation will be working together tomorrow on this severe weather threat. And John, you're doing a great job. I know you've got a lot of stuff going on right now. You're busy. And you got it under control, but I'm going to let you go back to it because I could see on the radar thunderstorms moving in very closely to Soncy. That's your west side loop. So it looks like it's getting into the metropolitan area of Amarillo. So keep an eye on that for us.
Oh, absolutely. We certainly will. And again, for our friends listening to us up here across the Texas Panhandle on myhighplains.com, these thunderstorms tonight are mainly hailers, but we'll keep an eye on them for you. Again, there's that outside risk of a tornado, so we're watching all modes of severe weather, and we'll continue to stay on top of it throughout the evening hours. Ron?
All right, John, thanks very much. And of course, now we take a look at what happened yesterday. And again, this tornado yesterday was incredible, and I'm going to bring in, of course, our strike unit man himself. That's Derek Genner. That's his full name. You hear me call him DG. You can barely see it there, DG. There's tornado number one. It's visibility, but you started finally saying, "Oh, you were seeing something there."
Absolutely. We were concerned because there was not one area of intake, but two. As we got closer to Tahoka, it became clear to us that we weren't dealing with just a single tornado, but two possibly. This was a shot as we were heading south on 1054. This tornado was southeast of Tahoka in southeastern Lynn County. We were losing visibility on it because there was just so much dirt and water vapor, all kinds of things that were wrapping that tornado and veiling it from our view. We did see the second tornado. I think we've got some video that's going to show that here in just a little bit. There it is. There's tornado number two. That's looking down Highway 380. That tornado number two is, of course, north of 380. This was all in eastern Lynn County, and we did see that second tornado. Fortunately, well, it dissipated so that we could escape. But
can I just say you came up pretty close to that tornado, real close.
Too close, I'm afraid.
And the utility poles kind of gave you a hint that when they're falling over, something's going on over there.
Absolutely. Anytime you have power poles falling on the strike unit, that's a bad sign.
Not a good thing. But you know, we were also talking about this. I mean, this is so close to the Metro Lubbock area. This storm complex actually started in southern Lubbock County, not the tornado, but the thunderstorm complex. And by the time it moved another 10, 15 miles into Lynn County, whoa, we really had a problem. And so in proximity of weather to geography, this is what we would call a close call. And you see the poles being pushed over there as you were going into the storm.
Yes. Initially, we were getting reports out of the Weather Service that they were going to issue on Wilson, which is further to the north. It's in the northeastern corner of Lynn County.
Yeah, very close to the Lubbock County line.
We had been chasing in that area most of that afternoon, taking hail reports for the city. But once I just happened to glance to the south and saw it, and I was like, okay, that's not Wilson, that's closer to Tahoka. Mm-hmm. And once we gave chase, that was our primary objective for the rest of the evening, was that complex that was moving into eastern Lynn, western Garza.
And the thing is, Tahoka did not take a direct hit, but when you have a tornado, you have strong inflow wind. And either that or the RFD, the rear flank downdraft of a tornado, one or the other or both hit the Tahoka, so they had some damage, minor it appears, in the Tahoka area. But today the National Weather Service went out and looked at some of the farm homes and some of the equipment, and it looked like it was a pretty aggressive tornado for sure.
Absolutely. For the size, for its size and the country that it was roaming through, I was really impressed that we didn't have more serious injuries and or fatalities involved, right, especially with two tornadoes that were in Lynn County yesterday. And
it's been a while since we've had anything like this happen. And also, when the second tornado took over, it didn't just lift back in the air after 2 minutes. This thing stayed on the ground for literally multiple minutes. I don't know if it was 30 minutes, I don't know if it's 45 minutes, but it stayed on the ground for a long time.
I think that in itself spoke to the severity of the storm, the parent complex in general, and I think we had tornadoes warnings on it for what, 2 or 3 hours going into the late evening?
Going right into, of course, Travis bringing this great video here. Again, the viewers, by the way, you guys are superstars because you're helping us out. And every time we can get some of this video, you're helping us learn. And you're helping us understand exactly what was going on. But yeah, this went all the way into a county just to the south of Lynn County, just outside Dawson County into Borden County. So that storm was a long-lived storm, for sure.
Yes, it was, and very impressive. We were talking off air about how we have not, in recent memory, we can't remember the last time we saw something that was this serious, had such gate-to-gate shear on the radar.
Nice lead in, because you're talking about it's been a while. To me, you have to go back to 2009 or actually 2004 in our area to have this kind of thing. For tomorrow, John was talking about their risk area. Here's ours. Tornadoes, moderate. That for us to get into the moderate range for tornadic activity across the southern plains is, rare. Hail up to, and in localized areas, greater than 2 inches. Wind up to 70, that's sustained. With thunderstorms like this, wind gusts can go easily closer to 100 miles per hour. It just depends on where the cycle of the thunderstorm is. And flooding will be localized, but it will be significant. And so we always talk about this, and people in West Texas and this flat ground, they say, what? Well, flooding? Yes. And if you have high water on a road that's taking a dip and it's flooded, turn around and
don't drown.
Yeah, you may destroy your car. Maybe you won't drown, but you just ruined your vehicle. So that's the thing that we want to talk about tomorrow. These storms are going to be high precipitation supercells. And by the way, high precipitation supercells, or HPs as we call them, are the most difficult thunderstorms to really look into, because the precipitation is cutting you off from the inflow and the tornadoes.
We had plenty of rain yesterday, rain-wrapped tornadoes. The dirt, I was impressed at the amount of dirt that was going into them. But yes, HP supercells present a problem for spotting, because the things that we need to observe visually are usually being obscured by rain and various other things in the air.
Okay, let's talk about the setup again. We're going to need a little heating in the afternoon, but we're going to have better dynamics in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, as John was describing up in the Panhandle. So will we. We will have a bit of a stronger jet max in the area. We will not necessarily have the front to create some shear at the surface as much, but that front is expected to propagate southward as the evening goes along, so we have to watch that here in the southern plains. But we'll just have more dynamics. And so far this year, I mean, I'm scratching my face because it is amazing how many tornadoes have formed this year on low shear days. So if we're getting tornadoes on low shear days, that just means we better be ready for tomorrow. So tornado safety rules: stay away from windows and doors. Go to the basement or interior room on the lowest floor, of course, closet, bathroom. Cover yourself with a mattress, blankets, pillows, anything to protect you from flying debris. If outside, seek shelter in a nearby reinforced building. Reinforced just means concrete. Don't think that the movie Twister is real. You can't go into a little shed, all right? And then, of course, if driving, try not to outrun a tornado. That is ridiculous. And one other thing, I saw the tweet today from the National Weather Service, but we said this last night: under no circumstances do you ever stop under an underpass, ever. Okay, because that's not good. It's dangerous for fellow travelers, and it's quite frankly, if a tornado goes over that, it's not going to help you anyway. John, you got some weather going up in Amarillo. Is it what, you have some breaking, or how are you doing up there?
Well, the thunderstorms right now, Ron, are pulsing, and right now they're kind of pulsing down, so they're marginally severe, but then going back severe limits, below the severe limits. So the National Weather Service is putting out basically special weather advisories on them, but a lot of dime hail, occasional nickel to quarter hail, and then they fall back below severe limits. So we are watching them, and again, like you've been discussing, we're not really expecting much in the way of tornadic weather tonight. I mean, we're watching everything, of course, but tomorrow is when all of the ingredients come together across the panhandle, and the outflows that are left over from tonight from these thunderstorms, and then the energy aloft coming in. And as you were saying a while ago, we have the jet streak that's moving in across the southern part of the area. So a lot of lift in the atmosphere. So right now it looks like everything is phasing correctly, phasing together, unfortunately correctly, to give us a severe weather outbreak tomorrow, not only for the South Plains, Lubbock, but also up here into the Panhandle. By the way, I just want to also mention we actually have a tornado watch that takes in one of our counties of our viewing area. That's Seward County in southwest Kansas. In fact, it may actually encroach into Stevens and Morton counties. That runs until tomorrow morning, 1 a.m. And so the severe weather is close to us right now. The front's up in Kansas. That's where all the rough weather is, but it is slowly making its way to the south. So something we're definitely keeping an eye on for tomorrow with that enhanced risk of a tornado threat.
A little foreshadowing there, John, with the severe weather already in Kansas that you can see and in your area tomorrow. I know that you're going to have your storm teams out. Right next to me is Derek Ginter and the strike unit. We too will have our storm units out, and I suspect we'll be initially in about the same place. We'll be watching the dry line a little bit, John, down here to see where we find the correct bulge and the correct convergence along the stronger push of the dry line to see what will begin to form. But your frontal boundary up there with that triple point, that's going to be something really to watch.
Oh, without a doubt. And again, you know, it depends on how far south the front actually moves tonight. It depends on how much thunderstorm activity develops north of the front. That will push the front further south into the Panhandle, into our viewing area. So indeed, Ron, that triple point will definitely play a role in our weather. You know, we feel like the dry line will advance a little bit further to the east, probably set up shop tomorrow right along the Texas-New Mexico state line. So anything east of the dry line becomes fair game for severe weather. Then you have the frontal boundary that's coming in, acting as additional lift to the atmosphere in the low levels. So not only do we have the thunderstorms billowing up tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours, but now we have that southeasterly flow coming into both of these boundaries, which will enhance that low-level wind shear and allow these thunderstorms to root into more of a dense moisture supply closer to the ground. And of course, then everything, you know, we do have to worry about that probability of a tornado. And, you know, up here on the high plains, and of course I know around Lubbock, quite often we get the tornadoes that form, but they may not last that long. They typically are relatively weak, anywhere from a 0 to a 2 on the F scale, so an EF0 up to an EF2, but sometimes we get the EF3s, and unfortunately those benchmark years, here comes the EF4s and occasionally maybe an EF5. So something we definitely are watching vigilantly tomorrow. I will have my crews out. Again, Jay McCoy has been storm chasing for so long. I also have Jason Boggs. He's in LaFours over in Gray County, and he's right in the heart of our bad weather as far as county listing goes. And then also I have my own staff, Chris Martin and also Brittany Trumpy, that will be helping me out. So we're going to have everybody covered. But again, tomorrow's one of those days where you definitely want to keep an eye on the weather. If you live in this part of the world or down around Lubbock or even further off to the south, we are going to have that threat for severe weather tomorrow. So go about your daily business. But once the thunderstorms develop, stop what you're doing and get online. Check in with the TV stations, KMR Local 4 in our case, or Fox 14, and we're definitely going to keep you up to date.
Well, John, it looks like you've got things under control there. You'll be ready to make the move. Of course, on our side here, we'll more than likely be dispatching our storm units as soon as we begin to see any type of convergence along the initial push of the dry line, any type of Q field to the west of us that's beginning to go a little bit more vertical. And then DG, Al Harden, and storm unit number 1, storm unit number 3 will be out. And so we'll be watching the west first, then, of course, to the north as the front pushes down to our area. So it does appear it's going to be a long day, John. It's great to talk to you, and glad to be part of the Nexstar station and Nexstar Nation as we keep an eye on weather conditions for our viewers across West Texas. Glad to talk to you tonight, John.
Yes, sir, Ron. Same on this end. Again, glad to be a part of this, and we'll all be keeping an eye on our weather tomorrow, part of the Nexstar Nation.
Thank you very much, John, and thank all of you very much for being here with us tonight. We do appreciate it. Just keep in mind that by tomorrow, all of us here in Nexstar Nation will be keeping you advised.